So you're welcome to today's webinar. Sorry, we had a little hiccup. We have sorted it out. I'm Iveren Akai, and just 2 days ago, we celebrated International Women's Day. And today, we join millions around the world to mark International Women's Day 2026. And this year's theme, We Give to Gain, invites us to reflect on something very profound yet simple, that giving is not a loss, but a multiplication. And we all know that in Nigeria, women make up about 80% of the agricultural labor force. They plant, process, trade, nurture, and sustain the food systems. Yet, despite their contributions in the society, they often receive least access, little or no access to land, finance, equipment, training, and market opportunities. So we must ask ourselves these questions. What would happen if we chose to give differently? What if giving was not an occasional generosity, but an intentional strategy adopted by all? What if empowering women was seen not as a support for a few, but as investment for all of us? When women gain access to tools, the truth is they increase productivity. When women gain knowledge, they improve household nutrition. And when women gain income, children stay in school and communities become stable. When women gain confidence, the entire local communities begin to shift. And this is the heart of Give to Gain. Now, the Foundation for Sustainable Smallholder Solutions, our host for today, in partnership with the Heineken Africa Foundation, has launched the Extra Project with this principle in mind. This project is supporting over 14,000 beneficiaries, with about 60% women, not simply through short-term assistance, but through equipment, training, infrastructure, and sustained engagement. Because real giving is not about just temporary relief, it's about building capacity. And we all know that without capacity, you can't really thrive in business, in any aspect of life. So it's about creating the perfect conditions where women can thrive independently and sustainably. And when this happens, the gain is shared. Because you know that women, whatever you give women, we multiply. Families grow stronger, communities become resilient, food systems become better and more secure, even local communities become inclusive. That's the power of a woman. Today's conversation is more than just a celebration or just marking a special date on the calendar. It's about responsibility. It's about asking ourselves, what can we give? Whether it's funding, knowledge, networks, advocacy, mentorship, visibility, or time to accelerate gender equality in agriculture and beyond. So as we move through this discussion today, I would like to encourage all of us to listen not just for inspiration, but for action. Because gender equality will not happen by chance. It will happen because we chose to give intentionally. And so the question before us today is very simple yet profound. What will you give to gain gender equality? What would you give to gain gender equality? Thank you once again for joining us, everyone. Now let us begin the introductions. I'll start by introducing our guests. Beg your pardon. Our guest speakers for today. First, we have Hope Ayeni. Ayani, please, are you in the house?
Yeah, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, good morning. Okay, let me just introduce you before we bring you on board to speak.
Okay.
So, Hope Ayani is the first speaker of today. She is a sustainability advocate and community management associate at the EcoBar Nigeria, where she leads community-driven circular community initiatives focused on waste recovery and environmental education. Her work centers on empowering women and young girls to see sustainability not just as responsibility, but as economic opportunity, turning climate action into income pathways. Please join me in welcoming Hope Ayeni. If you're there, just give her a round of applause. You can unmute and give her a round of applause. Thank you. We're excited to hear insights from her today. And our next speaker, Ifeoluwa Oyeyemi. Please, if you're in the house, please unmute and say hello.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Hi, Ifeoluwa. It's good to hear from you. So I'll just introduce you also. Ifeoluwa is an agribusiness entrepreneur and also the founder and CEO of Farm Help Agro Stores in Ibadan. With a background in animal science and animal nutrition and biotechnology, she is very passionate about modern farming, sustainable food production, and using digital platforms to inspire young people to see agriculture as a viable, exciting future. Through trainings and school engagements, she continues to ignite youth interest in agribusiness and value chain development. Please join me in welcoming Ifeoluwa. A round of applause. Thank you. And then our third speaker for today is Mr. Eric Nikwa. Mr. Eric is a food systems and development professional with over a decade of experience in fundraising, agricultural policy, strategic partnerships, and climate smart resilience. As the Partnership and Grants Mobilization Officer at the FSSS, he leads high-impact funding efforts that have strengthened agriculture and livelihoods programming across multiple initiatives. He is deeply passionate about food security, youth empowerment, and building sustainable systems that drive inclusive growth. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Eric. I didn't hear your clap. Oh. Thank you very much. All right, so let's jump straight into the questions for today. Our first question is directed at Ifeoluwa. So be ready to unmute your mic and let's hear your beautiful voice, Ife. So the first question we have for you today is, what does "when we give to gain" mean in the context of gender equality in agriculture? What does that theme or the principle mean to you?
All right, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. So the context of give to gain to me means that when women are being given opportunities to drive or to do more in the community or food system, we tend to get a lot of things because the multiplier effect in women, we help the community to be food secure, especially the country. Then also, there are a lot of responsibility that it gives to a woman to with her time and her resilience in order that when you build up a woman, you are building a community. It means that when you empower a woman, you give back to a lot of more people. Let me cite an example. Like when FSSS, like before it was Syngenta Foundation, empowered me as a woman to be a network manager under them. we were able to build more up in the Southwest, and which were functional. And it's still under the capacity of being a woman, and it is being led by a woman. So it is giving opportunities to women, also make sure that our food system is being secured. Then it becomes bigger and better because women tend to play with a lot of innovations which they tend to multiply easily compared to when a man handles it. And also it helps household nutrition, because when we are talking about a woman will always think about the child, think about the husband, and think about the outside world, which is the family and relatives. Without even that, they always believe that being able to extend outside with love make them unique in their being. So give to gain is just as giving an opportunity for women to expand, to grow, and fill up expansions.
Wow, thank you so much for that valuable contribution. I mean, you really, really just touched the main things. So women, we have power, we have capacity, but then we also need mentorship. It's not just enough to have that capacity, but we need mentorship, we need training. And whatever you give us as women, we multiply. It's just a natural instinct. All right. Thank you so much, Ifeoluwa, for that wonderful contribution. The next question is directed to Hope. Hope, why is generosity not charity, but a strategic investment when empowering women? Hope Ayeni, you can unmute.
Okay, good morning, everyone, once again. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you all hear me? Okay.
Yes.
To answer your question, we'll have to understand what charity is. What charity is. First off, charities are short-term beneficiaries that we give to people. People just benefit from these things. For instance, we locate a community, share relief materials, and that's all. So now those things that we give to them solve short-term problem, solves the need for food at that point, the need for what they want to use that thing for, and it's not going to last for a period of time. For me, generosity is more like strategic giving that creates opportunities instead of dependency. When you place charity beyond generosity, you tend to see that people become dependent, women become dependent, because I mean, you're just giving them something for short term. Why don't you channel that short term into long term and give them something that they would hope for a longer term? For instance, in the in what we do, the economy that we are, social impact and development space, we don't just give charity. Rather, we tell ourselves that giving skills, empowerment, access to markets, creating job opportunities for women is what really matter. And so that's why, answering your question also, I am giving an instance on what we do at EcoBata. At EcoBata, we don't just talk about the need for recycling, the need for circular economy. Rather, we see that as an opportunity. Am I shouting? Sorry, please. Rather, we see that as an opportunity, and we tend to how will I put it, create sustainable source of income for these women. When we locate a local community, we give them value, we train them, we give them means of finding money for themselves, not just giving them what to eat immediately, but giving them something that is sustainable for them to carry on for a very long period of time. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Hope, for that wonderful answer. So it's not just about a short-term generosity, but long-term, something sustainable, something that they can pass on to even, the other generation, something that will have a ripple effect on the other generation, I would say. Thank you very much for that answer. So our next question is directed to Mr. Eric. Please, can we unmute and also sorry, not unmute, but put on your video so we can see you. We need to see who and who is on this webinar, please. If you don't mind, let's see. Aha, thank you so much. One person has unmuted. Please, let's all just open our video so we can see our beautiful faces. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so next question is directed to Mr. Eric. Mr. Eric, this one is for you. In your experience, how does investing in women create a ripple effect beyond the individual beneficiary?
Thanks so much. I'm happy to be here. My name is Eric Nikwa. So investing in women have multiple impacts. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yeah, so investing in women have multiple impact. And let me give instance of investments in agriculture. When you empower a woman as your beneficiary in an agri program, one, that woman is in charge of the family kitchen in most instances. So when you empower that woman in an agri project, it means the nutrition level of that family will be improved. So it means if that nutrition level is improved, the family will have better health. And if the family have better health, it means the family is spending less on hospital bills. That money that was spent on hospital bills prior will now be diverted into other needs of the family. Another impact of investing in women is women also diversify livelihood. So when you invest in a woman, the woman does not just depend on what you are investing in with her. She uses part of that income to diversify her income streams into other ventures. So you see women doing processing, women involved in crafts and other income generating activities as a ripple effect of the investment that you invested in her or her household. So through food security, through nutrition, through expansion of livelihood options. Also, women are seen as the bedrock of the family. When the man is having financial challenges, the woman can step in. At the end of the day, the family is happy, the children are happy, and the society is happy because one woman was empowered. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Eric. That was very, very an excellent contribution there. So without further ado, we'll jump to the next question. And this one is directed at Hope. Hope, this one is for you. What happens economically and socially when women are excluded from opportunities? What do you think will happen socially and economically when women are excluded?
Okay, thank you once again for that beautiful question. Um, there's a saying that goes that when you train one woman, you train an entire community, right? When you train one woman, rather, you train an entire community. What happens when um, we do not train, when women are excluded from the economy, when women are excluded from social opportunities, is that we, first off, the economic suffers a lot. For instance, if we don't have a lot of um, women that come up with ideas, take for instance what we do at Ecobata. Ecobata, what we do, it's a woman idea that has brought us to this point. Imagine if we this idea was not mentored, it wasn't groomed, and up until this level, it wouldn't have bet this beautiful structure that we have here at Ecobata. The economy suffers when women are excluded from opportunities. That's typically what happens. It suffers every aspect of the economy, suffer the productivity, creativity, every aspect suffer. So that's why it's good to include women in every opportunities in the economy. However it is, women should be included.
I totally agree with you. When women are empowered, communities are empowered. So please, as stakeholders, please, as you're listening, let's try and include women in agricultural businesses so that our communities will become better, empowered, and happier. So our next question, this one is for Ifeoluwa. What makes up a large share of the agricultural labor force? And why do they still receive women make up a large scale of the agricultural labor force? So why do they still receive fewer opportunities?
Thank you so much for that question. Yes, a lot of women seems to not understand what they are doing in the agribusiness sector. I put it that a lot of them have not put it into business term. That's just been the cultural way that they do it. So a lot of them, their voices are not being heard. So that is why you see that little or few of them are not being heard, and they are not really getting that opportunity. Then let me talk about cultural and norms. I was at a program in the northern side. At the age of 29, this person is a grandmother already, and she had no accounts, or she does not know anything about business, but she produces what we use here as a farmer in the south. She produces neem oil. So what did I do? I had to just put her into places that, okay, it's ignorant. She does not know that we buy as much as that. But we cannot transact because I cannot come to the north to go and pay her why she does not have an account details. And she does not see the business as a very growing one. She just produces little the husband uses on the farm. So when we started talking, that's a place of mentorship. When we started talking, I encouraged her that, okay, we can be buying this from you at Farm Help. We will buy in kegs, we buy big kegs, like 10 kegs, you send it to the south, but you have to take it as a business. So she was encouraged to do it as a business, though there are a lot of wants to get money than I am, cultural and norms. That can also hinder a woman not to get opportunities like that. Then also, when you are even evolved, you are educated, but there's no bit of knowledge about new things and not adopting innovations. It's also part of it. Let me now talk about mostly what an entrepreneurial farmer or a smart farmer should do. One, before you could get anything, the record keeping is something so sure for you to do. But most of the women out there, before they will multitask, keep the child clean, cook for them, make sure the house is clean, make sure that they get food, they will have forgotten that they should keep record of what they did. Some of them do not know even they should pay themselves salary. So our place at Farm Help is just to introduce these women that, oh, you have a greater spot in the agri space. You even get more grants than men when you put yourself right, when the voices is there, when you are leading right, when you have been able to press down everything you are doing to other people. So it is something very, very important for us to understand that most of these women are not getting, they are doing more, but they are not getting the voices. They are doing more than even men that are getting the grants. They are doing more, but they are not showcasing, they are not showing up. Some people do not even have social media pages to showcase what they are doing. So these are some aspects that some women are not being included. When you hear about these things at all, you have a large farm. Yoruba will say that when you've not been to somebody else's farm, you will think your father's farm is the biggest. So it is one thing to understand that I am doing well, but people are not seeing it. When we started our training at Farm Help with the training the small children, growing them to know what they eat, to know how it grows. People started questioning us, oh, you need this, you need help. You need this. We can sponsor this program. It is when we put it out. But when we did not even showcase it, that we are just going to schools from schools and nobody knew about it, we were not getting sponsorship. So it's another thing to showcase what you do. It's another thing to now know that you're in business of what you are doing. So it's not the cultural way. So most of these things do not allow women's voice to be heard. And it will now bounce back to the point that it goes to the lower form of the food system. And when gifts or opportunity are being shared out, it will not get to the real people working, the real women doing it. So these are the major setback that women may have in Nigeria as a woman. Because one, let me say, ignorance, cultural norms, are not putting themselves out, not showing up, or not even knowing that this is their rights. It is what they deserve, after giving out their time, after giving them their resilience, after giving out their support. So it's part of it. Also, let me just say it that way so that I'll give chances to other speakers. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Feolowa. You hit the nail on the head. You see, women work very hard, but they're not seen because there's no visibility. Some of them, like you mentioned, are not on social media. So nobody really sees what they are doing. Nobody sees their efforts, to even say, okay, apply for grants, let the world see what you're doing, and then you can apply for, grants, for support and all that. That's why we in the agribusiness sector need to access these rural areas, empower these women with knowledge. You mentioned that ignorance is part of it. So if they can receive training, knowledge, mentorship from seniors like you, experts already in the business, I think they will better know how to position their businesses and gain that much visibility. So thank you so much for that wonderful contribution. So next question is directed to Hope. Hope, what structural barriers prevent women from accessing finance and market access? What structural barriers prevents women from accessing finance and market access?
So I believe that some of the system or obstacles that makes it difficult for women to grow economically and that serves as barriers are: number one, we have limited access to finance. Some women do not have the opportunity of getting loans. Even if they have loans, there is no collateral for those loans. There are also limited financial inclusions for these women. Also, limited skill or training opportunities. Some of these women are willing to upskill. They want to know, but there is no skill for them to want to have to have this knowledge that they desire. Also, weak market access. There are weak market access. It's one thing to produce something, it's one thing to have the skill, but how do you have the access to the market? Some of them don't have the access to the market. Like the other speakers spoke about, some of them not having access to something as little as social media. So it also goes back to all of us that are on the call. If we are training these people, we are trying to give them skills. Let's also think about digital skills to include in our training, because they need all of these skills to be able to have more access to the market, right? And also, I also believe that there is lack of sustainability. What do I mean by lack of sustainability? For instance, now you go to a community, you find out that, okay, you can be able to give these community women some kind of skills to engage them and get income from these skills. Now, what most people do is that after they render this training to these women, there is no plan for sustainability. There is no long-term plan. They just train these people, leave them like that, no access to market, no ways on how to upskill this business, no follow-up, and then you expect these people to come and to make money from the skill you've given to them. It's not possible. For us at EcoBata, one of the things we try to do is that we try to create sustainability and continuity after training. It's a call, and it's something that is very, very core to us. We don't just leave these women after training. We go there like 3 months after, 6 months after, to check up on them and follow up with them and see that these things, they're doing them, and they're doing them rightly. So I believe that these are the barriers that prevent women from accessing finance and market access. And if there's one thing we have to take home from this question that I just answered, is that we should be able to create sustainability for women after we've trained them. We should have at the back of our mind that this skill I'm giving out to this person, to this group of women, to this community, what's the sustainability at the end of it? What's the long-term goal at the end of it, right? Also, include market access for these women. You're bringing, these are community women, local community people, right? You're bringing them out from a system that they're used to into a system that they're not used to. Tell them everything that it's that system that you're bringing them into entails, and you will see that they'll be doing very well when you go back to check up on them in the next 6 months. I believe I answered your question, please.
Absolutely, you did. Thank you so much for that valuable contribution. So we'll jump straight to our next question. This one is for Ifeoluwa. So how does unequal access affect productivity, food systems, and community resilience? Together.
You can come again, please.
Okay. So how does unequal access affect productivity, food systems, and community resilience?
Yes, unequal access can make the community not to be food secured, because what a man will tell you is doing, a woman can do it more better on the farm, because they have let me say, they have a lot of access to, they quickly get access to information quicker than a man. So now, if it's on equal access, it will enable them not to get what they should get at the time of their needs. So let me cite example. Now, we set a standard that, okay, men should be giving 10 million USD to work, while a woman is giving 5 million. I can bet it with you that the projects that will be given so well to that man, to the woman, will be more sustainable, because job creation around that firm will be more for a woman, because they will tend to give more women, and more women would be employed, making their livelihood better and their family. So now, if it is now unequal, it will deprive of us food. Anything they are doing along the value chain will be affected, and it will not really work well to their distribution channels, because there are a lot of things that involve during that distribution channel. So for us, it is better that it is equal. You have like, okay, even more, let me just put it like, okay, 60-40, so that women, a lot of women that can make it sustainable will be higher than those that will just forget about it because it's a side hustle. But if you see women that have really determined that, okay, this is what I want to grow with, or this I want to maintain, they don't make it a side hustle. And it's really something that we should look into, because our food system should do well, should get bigger with all we are doing, because the population gets increased daily, and it doesn't stop women from doing what they should do. So it is left on us to make sure that the access, everything that they are getting, access to quality input, access to finance, is equal to all of us, both men, both women. Everybody gets it. In the north, they will tell you that some women must not attend training. They cannot attend training. So it is something that they will not even allow them to do. But with some barriers being broken, we have some that will now go and step it down in the mosque to other women. They will come, training of the trainers, just few of them. the elders will come and do it. So it's something that it should be equal. When you are training men, you are training women also. When you're empowering women, men, you're empowering women. Just let me cite an example. Uncle Boras, you will see it's just few ones that gets this of the grants. Little women are the ones their voice are being heard. But when everything is now determined that, okay, at this point, for us to make sure that our food system is stabilized, everybody will get their own access, will get everything equally, then will be better. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that wonderful contribution. Ifeoluwa, you have so much to tell us today. So we'll jump straight to the next question. And this one is it's still for Ifeoluwa. So if we have closed the gender gap in agriculture, what do you think would mean for food security and economic growth in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. If we close this gap, it's going to be a total freedom for women to explore, a total freedom for women to turn their voices on this food system. It will be an access to everybody getting all they need at once. Being a woman-led business, I know how many people will come to me for credit facility, but I'll just check through because I have a record and check, okay, this person will be a good credit person. I can be able to do it. But most of the times, men will just do it out of pity because he has given you stories. And at the long run, you will not be able to get your money. If this thing is done, you will see that the sustainability that Madam Hope said will be very sure, because women will not only give you money, they will follow up and go and check. I have a program that I do making farmers get loan. When we did this thing, I told them I have the list of farmers that you can give this loan. Lapo, please don't give anybody that would be running all around. I am a woman. I have to be following all of them to go and check if their farm was doing well. But on a normal day, if it is a man, they will just do it. I believe you will pay back, and it will bounce back on them on business. So it's going to build up. It will give us a good food system. It will become big, better, and everybody will be able to be secured when it comes to food issue. Then it will expand our scope in a matter that you will see a woman that can be a one-stop place, a one-stop doing the production of tomatoes. They can be in value chain and be in the logistic issues, because logistic is also a major issue in the value chain. They can also be that. We have women that are running logistics now that are very good at it, and they are perfect. I prefer even to do business with women when it comes to logistics, because they will deliver to time. But when it is to men, I have issues. So it's just a give, and we expecting a multiplier effect on it, that when everything is being stabilized and it is equally giving, women will do better and our food system will be secured.
Well, absolutely true. I totally agree with you, Ifeoluwa. Thank you so much for that excellent contribution. So please, our attendees, if you have any questions, please, you can either send them on the chat box, or you can raise your hand and I would unmute you, or you can unmute yourself and then ask the question. So start preparing your questions so that we can take them as the discussion continues. So it won't be like it's just the speakers and the hosts that are speaking. So if you have a question, please raise your hand, or you can send it in the chat box so we can pick your questions and address them appropriately. Thank you so much. So with that being said, we'd like to proceed to the next question. This one is for Mr. Eric. Mr. Eric, the Extra project supports over 14,000 beneficiaries, with about 60% women. So why was this intentional inclusion of women critical to this design?
Okay, thank you so much, Ivy. So the design for the percentage sharing, 60% being women, was a donor requirement. But beyond it being a donor requirement, as a foundation, FSSS prioritizes women and youth inclusion because at the moment, about over 45% of our target beneficiaries nationwide in our programs are women and youths. And also, we have women who are playing key roles in our agri programs as network managers, as hub managers. In Abuja, we have three farmers hubs in Abuja, and they are all run by women in Gwagwalada, in Kuji, and Kwali. We have hub managers in Kano, we have network managers in Kano, we have hub managers who are all female in Nasarawa and other states. So outside the Project Extra, FSSS prioritizes gender inclusion in our programming, and we are very particular about that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eric. Wow, that's very enlightening and also interesting to know that women are very much included in this agribusiness and that they are taking charge in the business. So, would like to take questions from our attendees. I see Mrs. Khadija or Khadija Bashir. Khadija Bashir, can you unmute yourself and ask your question? Hello, Khadija. Are you online? I see you raising your hand. I don't know if you have a question or a contribution. I already pressed it. She missing? Okay, I unmuted you, but I think you're not ready to ask your question now. So we'll just go to the next person, Mr. Gabriel Alao. Mr. Gabriel, you can speak or ask a question, make a contribution or something.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so just speaking to um, getting to include women in the agri-space and food system sector. Over the time, we've been able to map out that when it comes to primary production, including women, just this is me speaking. Don't take an offense. I'm just wanting to get enlightened, really, especially from our speakers. So when it comes to agriculture, it comes from primary production to processing to marketing. And over the time, we've been able to properly include women in the aspect of processing and marketing. But the aspect of primary production has been a bit tough over the time. While we are not saying that women are less of strong, we are not saying women are not strong, but the work on the field can be very tedious and the likes of that. Just wanting to ask the speakers that aspect of primary production, especially in crop. I know in livestock production, we've been able to have them included. But the aspect of crop production, how do we so well include women in that particular segment? And also, I want to ask a question around when it comes to policy, especially in this 2026, if we are to pick a sort of top three areas that we want policy to be adjusted or redressed to avail proper inclusion of women in agriculture, what could it be? This will actually help us who are kind of activists to know how to channel our strength and really hit on those three key areas. So yeah, inclusion of women in primary crop production, and top three areas that policy should be redressed around women inclusion in agri. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gabriel. I'm clapping for you here because I really agree with what you're saying. So we'll jump to the next question without further ado. This question is to Mr. Eric again. Mr. Eric, please, we can't see your video. Okay, thank you very
I'm
much.
here.
Okay. All right, so the next question is for you. What exactly are we giving through the extra projects beyond funding?
Okay, thank you so much, Ivy. So beyond funding, the extra project is giving a lot, not just to women, but to youth and men on the project. Just that women are occupying the majority on the project, which is 60%. We are doing what is called farmer training, but the broader aspect of farmer training, capacity building, training these women on best agronomic practices, and we are also diversifying their scope outside agriculture into other income streams. So we are training them in local crafts, we also train them in processing. This will give value to what they produce in the field and also expanding their options outside local production. We are also particular about the type of crops we are using. We are using biofortified crops and also climate smart and nutrition dense varieties of seeds. And these seeds, the nutrition value of these seeds we are using is top notch. And the seeds are also contributing towards impacting the soil. So by and large, this is what we are doing. So the impact cut across both agriculture, both about health, nutrition, and also expanding business opportunities for these women. We're also providing market linkages, helping these women to look for selling spots. We look for aggregators who come to buy the produce and products that these women produce in their villages, in their communities, taking away the stress and the challenges of them going to look for buyers themselves, and also the aggregators that will bring also offer competitive prices to these women. So it's a whole package that the extra project is giving. It's a lot. Thank you.
Well, that's great to know. And I'm sure attendees are taking note of these things also. The extra project is beyond just funding, but it diversifies into different other givings, other aspects of givings. So thank you very much for that enlightenment. We appreciate you. So the next question is directed to Hope. Hope, you can't see your video. Okay, thank you. So how does providing tools, skills, and infrastructure differ from the short-term aid? We can't really hear you. Kindly unmute yourself. Thank you.
My bad. Sorry. Thank you so much. Again, we still have to understand that short-term aids are similar to charity, I would say. I might be wrong, but I would say they are similar to charity first off, and they solve immediate needs, but they create dependency, right? Aids are temporary. Aids just solve again. Aids solve immediate needs, but you see, the tools, the skills that we give to women, those skills create independency. People generate income from these skills, right? They make them to be independent. The infrastructure that we create, the sustainable platform that we create for them, make them to be independent at some point in their life as they go. Again, because I work in the recycling space, the circular economic space, I love to cite examples from what we are doing at our own space, right? For instance, now at EcoBata, our women empowerment, the waste to resource empowerment program, what we do is that we give these women skills, like I had said earlier, we give them skills, on how to upcycle different products that are supposed to be on the landfill. They upcycle these products, right? So what we now do is that's a skill that we're giving to them, but we don't just leave them there. What we now do is that we now make them to be our production partner. Now, if you look at this whole thing, I'm now bringing skill, training, and market access all to them. They're now our production partner, whereby if we now have supply to make lifestyle products, bags in larger quantity, we contact them, they produce for us. And I'm pretty sure that they're, aside being our production partner, they're also generating income for themselves in their own community where they are through the skill that we've been able to train them with, right? That's one thing that we've been able to understand, that skill is better, training, tools, providing all of these things are better for them other than just something that is just so short term. And need I say that when we have opportunity to train people in other community, we pick the best out of these women as facilitators to go and train other women. That way, we are providing so much for them. We're providing market access. We're giving them job opportunity after we have already created giving them a skill. We're giving them job opportunity, and we're making them to be independent on themselves. So again, a take home from what I just said is that short-term aids solve immediate problem. It doesn't always create long-term independency. It's always solve immediate problem. Aids are temporary, but skills create a long-term independence for people. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that wonderful contribution. So our next question is directed to, we're trying to meet up with the time. Our next question is directed to Eric now. So in what ways does Extra demonstrate that investing in women is an economic multiplier?
Okay, so the Extra project is investing in women along different value chains, production and value addition. So in processing, the Extra project is expanding the existing processing hubs, some of which are owned by the women in the communities, and also establishing new processing hubs. These are modular units where the farm produce is produced. And the advantage of the processing units is it's not tied to a particular rainy season. So it's an all year round processing unit. That means the income stream of the woman is expanded all year round. It's not dependent on the period when there's rain. And also job creation. The women managing these processing units are also employing other women to play some roles at the centers. So job creation is another important aspect that we are doing. Also, we are also investing in non-agric value chains, production of local crafts. We're training them on vocational skills, which are also providing a source of income for them and also stability. When you empower a woman, much more than just giving the woman money, you are building this woman confidence, and you're also expanding her lifelines rather than her depending 100% on her husband or the dominant male figure in her family. Also, when you empower a woman, as we are doing in the Extra project, you're also building her capacity to provide better for her family in terms of nutrition. The replier effect of this is when you empower a woman, the children of that woman are seeing her as a role model. So the current impact of this project is providing like a mentorship platform where young girls in the community are seeing that average and middle-aged women are doing a lot and they could do more. So actually the project Extra is giving not just income and opportunity or jobs or creation of wealth, it's also a mentorship platform inspiring the younger women, that is the girls in the community, to look for something bigger in the future, that there could be more and they could do more. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Eric. We thank you for that wonderful contribution. So the next question is directed to Ifeoluwa. Very well, we're hearing your voice next. So why is giving to women not a subtraction from men or communities, but a shared gain? I'll take that again. Why is giving to women not a subtraction from men, but all communities, but a shared gain?
Thank you so much. Giving to women is not a subtraction, it is a multiplication, because the livelihood of a smallholder farm or the household itself will be better if you empower a woman. So it is not like a subtraction. You are still helping the community to grow. So building up a woman, it will help your institution to be more stronger. All the institutions along the value chain, all institutions, even establishments, will be stronger. So I don't see it as a subtraction at all. It is just being pushing the food and making it better. So to me, it is just a multiplication, not a subtraction. Thank you.
I totally agree with you, Ifeoluwa. So whatever I give to a woman, we multiply. So it's not seen as a subtraction at all. Please, let's encourage women, let's empower women in agriculture as much as possible. When you empower a woman, you empower a nation, an entire nation, not just a community, but an entire nation, and even the world at large. Because what you grow in your nation is what you can export to other countries as well. So as you empower us women, we also empower the nation and the world at large. So thank you so much for that wonderful contribution, Ifeoluwa. The next question is directed at Mr. Eric. Please show us your video so we can hear from you. So this next question is for you. Beyond funding, what else must we give to advance gender equality meaningfully?
Okay, so the first aspect I will talk about is access. Access means giving freedom for the woman to participate in the economic activity. We're talking about inclusion of women, particularly. Let me give instance of the core north. Well, this project extra is located in Bauchi North, Senatorial District in Bauchi State. It's a core northern location, and we had challenges. There are some women that wanted to enroll that the husband was not giving their full consent for them to enroll on that project as either farm hub managers or as owners of those processing units. We had to do a lot of convincing, bargaining, pleading with the men, because why we want the man's buying the project is because the man will now act as a support system to the woman. So the first access is even giving room for the woman to participate, like to even have a seat at the table. So that is the first aspect. So, and it has a lot to do with both the policy makers, the religious institutions, the community leaders. They have a lot to play in terms of sensitization. And also our project is also having what is called like a support group, so that the spouses of our beneficiaries are also trained and tailored to see the replica effect of their wives or their family members participating in this project as females. That is one thing about access. Another thing is about providing the opportunity itself. There are so many funding programs these days that are tilted towards women-led agri ventures. There are some that prioritize a woman being either the co-founder or founder of that agri enterprise. So in terms of funding, there are a lot of opportunities for women. In fact, there are some opportunities that women are not even aware that those opportunities exist, because somebody mentioned the fact that my fellow speaker, that women are not even aware of some opportunities. Some of them have very poor visibility online. They don't have accounts. So these are institutional factors. So it means a lot of sensitization has to be done by NGOs, by the private sector, to even bring these women up to speed. What are the support structures that they need? They need an account. Do they need training on bookkeeping? Do they need training on social media management? Do they need training on how to even present or pitch their ideas to investors at the business summit or at the business fair or at the farmers fair? All these are part of capacity building. So the first is access, the second is opportunity, and also the last is what can the fellow systems do to empower a woman. But there are a lot of opportunities for women, and if women are really brought to speed, and they organize their businesses well, the opportunities are quite a lot. And another good example of empowering a woman is women have intuition for creativity, and that's why a woman can do 10 things at a time. So that's intuitive nature of a woman. If channeled into business, the woman tends to be a very creative business person, which can be harnessed to create ripple effect, not just for the woman, but for the woman's family and the nation at large. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eric. I totally agree with you there. Okay, so the next question for Ifeoluwa. Ifeoluwa, are you online? Okay. So next question is for you. How important are mentorship, visibility, advocacy, and networks in strengthening women farmers? How important are mentorship, visibility, advocacy, and networks in strengthening women farmers?
Thank you very much. You see, mentorship and network, it's a very big deal, and it's very important to break a lot of barrier of isolation. Mentorship really it's a thing for a woman that is into business, into this agribusiness. We have a lot of experiences that if you don't have a mentor, a skill that will guide you out of it, you can run into depression. And a woman can easily run to depression with a lot of things that are ongoing in the agri system. So mentorship is a key. It's just one thing that you must be able to do. And you see, technical skills, you have to trail up on it because your experience cannot guide you through. We have a lot of people that have done a lot of things that you think we are just doing. Innovations around it, we have people that have adopted it, that have stopped using it, people that just don't think it works. So mentorship is just one thing that is so important in what we are doing. Then network. When you have network of women doing the same thing, having the same mindset, it will push you to do more. So the networks of people that you work with will encourage your business also. The network of people that you are with will help you to run, to soar, not to walk. So it is not in the level of competition, but the networks matters, because without your networks, you will know that, oh, you can pull a strength or you just be left alone. So in the case of visibility, it is very important, as I've mentioned. Visibility in all the things you do. Make it visible, let people know about it. Let them think, oh, this is farm help. This is what farm help is known for. It is not only an agro store that just sells. We do more than this. The training aspect, it is not just part of us. It is one thing that's giving back to us, even part of our charity, like what Madam Hope said. It is not just a thing that a time, your giving time that will be wasted. See, visibility is important. Then advocacy. It is high time that we begin to advocate that we have women led in the business, in the policy making. When we have ministers, let me cite an example in Lagos, we have a woman commissioner of agriculture. You can see how booming that is. So when we have women in places like that, in places when policy are being made, then things will be better. And all these keys are very important in changing the food system. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ifeoluwa. I totally agree with you. So beyond that, beyond visibility, mentorship is very important. They need to know how to position their businesses, whatever their trade is, their craft. They need to know how to position. Positioning in business is very important. They need good networks as well, like you mentioned. So when you're not a motivated person, naturally, when you're in the midst of motivated business people, it's just a matter of time for it to rub off on you, and you just align. So I agree with you there. Thank you very much for that wonderful contribution. So the next question, this one is for Mr. Eric, again. So, what role should private foundations and corporate partners play in accelerating gender equality in agriculture?
Okay, thank you so much for that. The first is getting the voice of women heard. Most interventions are designed without getting the voice of women on the table. What happens is the men speak on behalf of the women, and we have seen those instances play out. When before we awarded a grant for this project extra, we did a need assessment. So we went to the community, spent a week in the community, trying to understudy the needs of these people. And we saw instances of men telling us what women want. We said no, we want to hear from the women. So what we do is we separated the groups into both male, female, and youth. We had three groups: one for male, that adult male, female, and then youth, to understand the peculiar needs of each group. And that is when we are clearly able to spotlight the needs of women, knowing fully well that this intervention was heavily invested in women. We didn't want somebody coming to act as the PRO of the women's group. We wanted to hear from the women themselves. And that helped us to tailor our intervention to fit the needs of women. So getting the voice of women is very, very important. The second aspect is about policy making. I've attended a lot of policy making events as a policymaker that I am. And when you scan around, you see women occupying less than 10% of the population in most of the policy making rooms. At the end of the day, the policy document is released. Who are the majority of people playing the role at the last mile in agriculture? Is women. Somebody asked about the production cycle, women being not involved. I tend to disagree. Why? The men do the heavy lifting, the activities that involve high energy um, level. For example, in terms of yam production, maybe the men can help to do the ridges or the hips. But if you look around, the remaining activities are done by women, from weeding to fertilizer application to processing to packaging, even to transportation. You see a driver driving a truck of harvested products. Those things are processed by women, packaged by women, and you see a lot of women on that truck accompanying the driver to that location. So women, so even in primary production, the women are heavily involved more than the men. Just that the men do the heavy lifting activities that involve a lot of energy, but the rest are left for the women. So that aspect of inclusion is also very, very important. Foundations and NGOs are also devoting their grants and intervention to women. Let me give an instance. The Tony Elumelu Foundation, from the inception to date, have awarded more grants to women-led initiatives than men. I think about 54% or so of the grants awarded since inception to date have been targeted at women. They have also released some initiatives that were particularly tied to women alone. These are ways to encourage women participation. And outside funding, mentorship is very, very important. How are we building our mentorship systems, both as cooperatives, as NGOs, and as corporations to assist these women? Another thing is also empowering these women to have clusters, either farmers groups or cooperatives that are women centered. Because if we join these women to men, it's got that the men are taking the major leadership decisions and the women are left with the playing the least uh, influence role. So having cooperatives and farmer groups devoted to women so that we can channel our interventions directly to women before allowing somebody, a man, to be like a middleman between the agency and the women. That will also help to bridge that communication gap so that the interventions are designed to fit the peculiar needs of women. A woman and a man can be in the same place, but their needs are very, very different because of their scope, biological makeup, the roles of women in the house. The woman is doing a lot. So if the woman is not empowered to a large extent, the woman can be easily distracted because she's playing the role of a mother, she's playing the role of a caregiver, and also trying to give that same level of attention to the business. Another aspect is also in terms of capacity building, Training in women not just on the farming aspects, either the agronomy or the livestock, but on treating the agriculture as a business. Most women, their agricultural production volume is more than a man, but most of them tend to see it a as a family activity. It takes a lot of training and retraining and orientation for most women to see that what they are doing is actually a business. You say, "Oh, I'm just supporting my husband." No, you're not supporting your husband. You are first of all supporting yourself. First, see yourself as an entity before bringing your husband or your children in. The advantage of doing that is you can't give what you don't have. When you're talking about love your neighbor as yourself, it means you have to love yourself first. So women should be trained to love themselves first. Women should be trained to see themselves as an entity before joining their husbands or their children to the game. That will help them to be empowered in the sense that I'm not just doing this thing to help my family. I'm doing this thing to become a full enterprise that will support me, and then the spillover effect will be your children and your husband and then the community. So self-awareness is very key. Also training women to have an identity outside being a wife or being a mother. That will help them in having a core sense of identity, and that will trickle them to become more business oriented individuals. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for that excellent contribution, Mr. Eric. So without further ado, we'll jump to the next question. This one is for Hope. Hope, are you there? Let's see your video. Okay, thank you. So what policy shifts are necessary to make women's empowerment sustainable? What policy shifts are necessary?
Okay, first off, we need to understand that sustainable empowerment require policies that promote inclusive economic system, particularly in emerging sectors like ours, that's the circular economy and the green industries, right? Well, one of the policies that I believe is that government should create policies that support women economic participation and also women entrepreneurs. Um, the last speaker talked about him being in rooms that speak on policies, make policies, they deliberate on policies. Now, one thing I've understand in this sector is that there's a lot of talk around policies, but no action. So, from a lot of us that are on this call that are in rooms where policies are being made, um, two things you should take note of is that this policy should include women's participation in economy, and also the policies should go beyond talk, the boardroom, beyond what is being said to be to action. Actions should be taken on whatever policies are being made, right? Also, we should again, I'm still going back to what the last speaker spoke about, where he said that awareness and training should be invested heavily on women. Again, I believe on that. Investment in skills and education is something that is necessary to make women's empowerment sustainable. It should go beyond the fact that you're just doing this thing for fun or doing this thing for us to just survive. You need to live with this thing. There's a difference between surviving and living. So you should be able to, what you're doing, you should live with it, not just survive with it. It should go beyond just I'm doing it for fun. And so we need to educate them when we after giving them that skills, educate them with that mindset of what you're doing is not just it's beyond what you think it is. You can upscale it, you can take it onto the next level. Again, like I had said earlier, government should support um, um, sectors like ours, right? Sectors like ours need support from the government. For instance, we in the environmental sector, we we tend it's very difficult for us to be able to get somebody that is sustainability conscious, right? And that's because policies are not put in place for that. If there are policies, there are laws that support um and that support and care for the environment. We will say people that are into recycling, people that understands that the way they discard their waste affect the environment and even the climate at a large, right? Also, lastly, I believe that we can create systems that connect women to the market. Again, it's good enough to give them the training, it's good enough to show them how to do it, give them education that they need, but we are not done if they do not get value for whatever they've learned so far, for whatever they've produced so far. We are not done. So we also need to create market system, market access for them, connect these women to market. If you're a foundation, you're a private sector, even government government personnel that are on this chart, you should be able to know that it's not enough to give them the skills, the education. The work is not done. The work is done when they get value for whatever you've given to them. And what we mean by value, when they have money. So we need to connect them to market systems. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hope, for that wonderful contribution. And also, just to add to what Mr. Hope said, there was a needs assessment, that was done. They didn't just go and then, close their eyes and open their eyes and select the people that were, worthy of that. There was a needs assessment. So they need to be informed, these women, they need to be informed through knowledge, mentorship, that stakeholders or people that are going to invest in your business are going to check visibility. They'll check how empowered you are, how knowledgeable you are in agriculture. So they need to be better positioned to, receive these empowerment, the financial grants and all that from the stakeholders. So thank you very much, Mr. Eric. Thank you, Hope. Thank you, Ife Oluwa. So before we round up, we still have a couple of questions, like 3 more, before we take questions also from our attendees. This one is for Hope again. How do we move from isolated projects to systemic transformation in rural economies? I'll take that again. How do we move from isolated projects to systemic transformation in rural economies?
Okay, thank you once again. I think sometimes last week Friday we had some team of persons from an organization to the office, and we're just having a chit chat, and the person mentioned an organization name withheld, and they said, do you realize that most of the projects these people do in rural communities, after some while they're just abandoned. They don't really do the work before penetrating into these communities. And I believe them, because it is what we are saying, right? Funds and grants can be given to anybody, but how to use these things is what matter. Come down to how to my answer for this question. We need to understand that we have to build ecosystem, not projects. Referencing back to the male speaker, that he said when they wanted to have a project, they had to do a proper feasibility study and inquire from the participants of this project, what exactly do you want? When you have grants with you, you don't just have the grant and say, oh, let's just do this thing. Understand, this thing you're bringing to them, is it what they want? Is it what will make them to be scalable or not? Right? So you don't just go there and say, okay, I think these people need water, let's create water for them. Did they tell you they need water? You need to ask them. So we need to build an ecosystem, not just projects. We need to connect skills, market, and infrastructure. This ecosystem that we're building, ensure that it connects these 3 together. It connects skills, it connects the market, and it also connects infrastructure. We need to create solutions that are scalable, not anyhow solutions that we feel like, okay, I have XYZ USD line on our account, let's do something for the sake of doing. No. Is what you're doing, is it scalable or not? Right? Also, partnership with stakeholders, governments, private sectors is also important, right? So again, that's what I have. This pardon me, please, for us to be able to build, to move from isolated projects to a systemic transformation, let's build an ecosystem and build solutions that are scalable. Thank you.
I totally agree with you, Hope. Thank you so much for that contribution. So the next one is to Mr. Eric. Mr. Eric, this one is for you. How can men become allies in the give to gain movement? And what mindset shift is required at the community level? Did you get that?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
The first is some men, let me not use men and generalize. Some men should stop seeing women as their competition and see women as allies. The advantage of this is when you build with your wife, I'm talking about like married people, married men, it expands the economic fortunes of that family so that the family is not resting on only one source of income. Secondly, women are not just members of your household, women are members of the society. So see the woman first as an extension of the society, not just of your household. Because when you do that, you now see the larger scope that the woman is occupying, that she's not just your wife or your sister or somebody in the house, but the woman is an important player in the society. The woman is an important player in the economy. And moral support is very, very important. Moral support, mentorship. Since men have been involved in this agriculture for a long time, particularly in the decision making aspect, the men should also play that mentorship role to the women in terms of business, in terms of training them on capacity building, and also showing them the ropes in terms of the policy making rooms. How are the women, how are the men making sure that the policies are inclusive to include the interests of women? These are some ways that men could assist, but starting from the home, moral support is very, very important. See the woman as a part of a growing team and not just competition. And also look for opportunities for women to invest. Look for women for opportunities for women to apply for grants, for loans, and also training opportunities for women to improve their businesses. And also, if you have support, you can also train them on how to see their business as an enterprise, not just as a fun activity or a domestic activity. These are like starting points that the men can do to support women. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eric. So the next question and the last, this one is for all the three speakers. Please, can we see your videos? Let's see, these questions are directed to you all. So we'll take Ifeoluwa, then Mr. Eric and Hope. So what can each of us give to gain to accelerate gender equality? And what does sustained commitment require from all of us? I'll take that again. Sorry. So what can each of us give today? What can each of us give today to accelerate gender equality? And what does sustained commitment require from all of us? So we'll take Ifeoluwa first.
So giving giving our time to and our voices can give our time in advocating to get free access to land for all women, and also training a girl child, and also training on different knowledges that we all know, pass it down to all these women so that it will break their norms and culture. Also, we can give our time in giving little opportunities to other women by supporting other women's agribusiness ventures, but also making them understand why they need to be in business. So we can give all those voices to them, then making sure that they understand why they have to be in business like you are, mentorship, and also the form of technical skills, like what Ecobata is doing, making it sustainable to them at least when they're able to get little value. I'm so happy that the women we've trained for backyard farming have moved on to become a commercial farmer of tomatoes because they could see that they could feed themselves, then lead it to feed community. And that's why people say a lot of people that did not farm tomatoes last 2 years farm last year. They are not expecting what will happen this year. So it's a joy of mine that we can see that people that we have gathered to train, even giving them 10 seedlings, has grown up from buying 100 seedlings to buying 20,000 seedlings, doing 2 acres of tomato. So it's a thing of joy when we lend our voices, lend out our time, and lend out our skills to other women. So it's something that will help us. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Ifeoluwa. So we'd like to hear from Hope next.
Thank you once again. To answer your question, you said, what can each of us give today to accelerate gender equality, right? I did not quite get the last part of the question.
Okay, let me take that again. So, what can each of us give today to accelerate gender equality? And what does sustained commitment require from all of us? Did you get that now?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So now we need to understand that accelerating gender equality requires intentional actions from both individuals, private sectors, and stakeholders. If we want to accelerate gender equality, we have to be very, very intentional about what we're giving to these women, in local communities of ours. First of all, we need to understand that by supporting women-led initiative, we are giving, right? So when we're doing that, we should be very, very intentional about that as individual. Also, we should be able to support policies and policies makers and institutions should also support women-led initiative, and we should also support policies that advocate for betterment for women, right? We should be conscious. Now, this is not just as an organization like Ecobata. As a person like myself, Hope Ayeni, I should also be conscious about supporting things that are women-led. For instance, now somebody is able to extract in our local community, she was able to extract oil from coconuts, right? Maybe somehow she found out, or somehow you taught her. We taught her how to do these things. We should be able to support, not just say, oh, why are your market people? Who are the people that will patronize you? We shouldn't shut them down. In our little way as individuals, we should support them. Also, sustained commitment for me, it means that we should support system that ensures that women have skills, they have the opportunities, and they also have a seat at the table in areas of decision making and shaping the economy. Again, I'm still referring back to the male speaker where he said when they went to the community, they did not allow the men's voice to overshadow that decision. No, rather they wanted women to be inclusive in that decision making as to what should they train these women. The men cannot decide for them. They have their own voice. Let them speak. So in our communities that we go into, we should be able, and I'm very grateful for how he was able to. He said that they were able to devise a means of not making it look like conflict shouldn't come in. They had to separate them and question them, adult men, adult women, and youth, to understand what they need, right? So we should be able to use our initiative and derive a means in these local communities that we go into. Let's derive a means of how do we make them to have a seat at the tables of decision in their community. We want to carry out the project. How do we bring them in? One or two of these women. It gives them that voice, like they are being heard, they are being seen, and it creates a sustained commitment. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Hope. Thank you. So, Mr. Eric, would like to hear from you. Should I take the question again?
Okay, no, I got it the
All
second
right.
time.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you. Empowering women means we need a lot of support from different people. The government have their role to play, the private sector, the NGO sector, also at the community level. But let me start at the community level. Most NGOs and most implementing partners in the communities have what is called the project volunteer group. These are made up of the beneficiaries in those communities. In those volunteer groups, those project volunteer groups, women should be given a voice in those volunteer group because they are like the community advisory um, committee to the project team. That's another aspect. The second aspect is about training women how to see their agri ventures as businesses. Some women have been into processing for 5 years, 6 years, 10 years. They have never seen that activity as a business. They are just doing it as a side activity, as a side hustle. They don't belong to registered traders networks. They don't belong to farmer groups. They are just operating as loaners. Teaching these women how to structure these businesses, these business ventures into structured businesses will improve the ripple effect of that business. It may be as small as opening a mobile account for them. It might be as small as helping the woman to become a member of the cooperative group. It might be as small as mobilizing a group of women to go and register their own cooperative, either with the CAC or with the Ministry of Cooperatives. That will give them a voice. They can now use that membership of them as a cooperative to even get grants or get opportunities for capacity building or even go into alliance with aggregators, with off-takers to sell their produce at a very competitive rates. So women should first go into networking groups. Women should become and form their own cooperatives and farmer groups to be able to present their front as a voice to government and other agencies. And thirdly, women should see themselves as active members of the economic system. So you are doing your business not for survival, but to add value to the economy. So as a woman-led network or a woman-led group, always ask yourself, how can I add to the larger scope of the economy? How can my business, how can my cooperative, how can my farmer group that I belong to play a larger role in the economy by first doing our part? And lastly, the men should support the women because when women progress, the progress spills over to everyone, and everybody is very, very happy at the end of the day. We are all products of being women. I remember clearly as a child, various instances where my mother had to step in to assist my dad when there was delay in salary or something, something, something. So those instances are always there in the family. So supporting a woman is a plus to you as a man, is a plus to the family, and is a plus to society. Thank you so much. Happy to be here among women. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You are blessed amongst women, and we're happy to have you too. So thank you. It's
Thank
been a very robust conversation with everyone, all the speakers. So we'd like to throw it open for our attendees. We won't just, it will be fair for us to end this discussion without hearing from other attendees. So please, I know that you have valuable contributions as well. I'd like to hear from you. So like I mentioned earlier, if you have a question, a contribution, just raise your hand or you can send your questions in the comment box and we will pick it up and ask the question. So please, our attendees, you're free to ask your questions. Yeah, free to ask questions and make your contributions. Would like to hear from you. Can our attendees hear me? I just take a few contributions or questions before we round up our discussion for today.
Ivy, somebody asked two questions earlier about the three priority policy interests for women inclusion, and
Okay.
also how can we improve the participation of women in the production or the farming aspects.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'll leave the floor to the Ifeoluwa and Hope to give
Yes,
their own
please.
take on that.
Sure. So who is going first? If you Hope.
Hope, you can go first. Thank you.
Okay, let's have Hope first. Thank you.
Can you please come again with the question? I got the latter part.
The first question is, what three priority interests in terms of policy making will you suggest that will help to improve women inclusion? For policy making, what are your three areas of interest that will increase women participation in agriculture or in economic empowerment? And the second is, how can we increase the population of women participating in the farming or the production aspect of agriculture?
Okay.
Do you get that?
Should I?
My network is bad. Yes. Come again. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
You were
So the
breaking in
first
between.
is okay. The first is, what are the three priority interests in terms of policy making that will help to improve women participation in agriculture? What do you suggest to be the three priority areas in terms of policy making that women can increase their say in agriculture? And the second is, how can we increase the population of women participating in the production or the farming aspect of agriculture?
Okay, thank you for that. First of we've already stated all of these things just for me to emphasize on them. Um, one of those three I believe is that women should have equal access to land and property rights, just like men, right? We in communities, women should have equal access. I think one of the speaker, I think it was the Fed that was saying that the yields from women are even more than the yields from men. That's because they are very hardworking. We are hardworking. Just that, in the north, there's always this segregation between women. And then when they see a woman doing something very big, they're surprised. You're the one that did this thing. So we should be able to look for a way to emphasize on the need for women to have equal access to land and property and rights. Also, access to finance. We stated that already. Finance, inputs, and also, I believe, agricultural resources. Finance is the major thing. We should be able to look for a way to create access to finance for these women. I think, again, referring to what Ife said about giving them loans, your organization give women loan. If we have more people that give these women loan, it's better. If I'm not wrong, you also stated that the women, when after giving them loan, it's not difficult for you to get back your loan from there. Isn't that so? So imagine if we have a lot of us that are giving these women access to finances during farming season. There will be a massive yield considering how hardworking we are. Third one, again, I think I kept emphasizing on this ones: training, market access, and including them. Like, there should be a value chain inclusion for these women. That's one of the things I was emphasizing on. So these are the three things I believe that will help women in the agricultural sector. I don't know, but you would have to repeat the third question, the latter part of the question again for my inputs.
How can we increase the population of women participating in the farming or production value chain, the farming or production aspect of
Hello.
agriculture? Like, how can we increase the population of women practicing in the production or farming aspect of agriculture?
My network is bad.
Can you hear me
Can
now?
you hear me, please?
Okay.
Yes, how can we increase the population of women that are participating in the farming or production aspect of agriculture?
How can we increase women's participation in farming? Is that what you're trying to say?
Farming or production aspect of agriculture, yes.
Yes, and farming and production aspects. Again, providing them with tools, the right tools, and I think you were the one that said that, and I added to it, mentorship and education. mentorship and education. And also, I think I said this one last time, sustainability. We shouldn't just give them tools and not follow up with them on how they use this tool. We should always give them things that are sustainable, create a sustainable system, an ecosystem for them also. That is it for me. I'm sorry about my network though.
All right, thank you very much for that. So, Mr. Eric, over to you to answer the last question or make your contribution before we round up, in the absence of any other questions.
I was expecting Ife to speak.
Okay, let's
Yeah,
have Ife.
women are in charge here, so if
Okay,
he
all
speaks,
right.
I'm fine.
Okay, Ife, please, let's
Yeah.
hear from you.
All right, I'll just add training and technology adoptions is still part of the policy that should be top also. She had mentioned those three. Let's put training and technology adoption. It's another thing to bring innovations. Another thing is adoption. So these are the policies that should be heard so that the voices of the women can also be heard. Then machinery, when it comes to as little as people will ask you as what are those things that can help a farmer, it's as thinking as being a smart farming, what can help their life to look more not aged. We have use of mulching film, solar farm, everything that will better their life, greenhouses that can ease the production level of a smallholder farmer. It's one thing that can help a woman to grow. Then what she said about creating an ecosystem is so good, and the sustainability level. So that's why I always advise women to always look for to do smart farming, should be eco friendly to the point that just get to the farm. Your own condition is just to walk around, monitor what your farm ants are doing after you have invested in their training. So if you are not investing in the life of your farm ants, you have an issue as a woman-led business. So investment in the life of your farm ants, farm helpers, your workers also is the key. So that at least when you give them the right knowledge, they'll be able to do the right thing at the right time, the right dosages, the right thing to do part-time by each of the crops. So those are the things that can better the life of a smallholder women-led farm. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Hope. Thank you very much, Ife Oluwa. So, Mr. Eric, do you have one more final words for us before we round up? In the absence of any other questions.
Okay, so one thing I want to emphasize about helping women to convert their subsistence activities into business. So on Project Extra and other projects that we're working on, part of my job as the partnership and the funding raising manager is business development. So we're strengthening these women to turn their activities into full-fledged businesses. And we are supporting them all across the value chain, from training to helping them to register as cooperatives and also register as seed producing organizations in the community level. We are going to be doing part of that. So all through this year, we have a package of trainings and support systems to enable these women to register their businesses and groom these businesses into becoming full-fledged economic units and not just subsistence activities. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. It's been a wonderful time having this discussion with all of you. Thank you for honoring this invitation. So for those of us who just joined us at the middle part of the conversation, this webinar was put together by the Foundation for Sustainable Smallholder Solutions in collaboration with the Heineken Africa Foundation. And our guests today have been Hope Ayeni, Eric Nikwa, and Ife Oluwa. Please help me with yourself. Pronounce it well so I don't help me pronounce your surname properly so I don't
Oyeyemi.
Oyeyemi. Thank you very much for coming on board to speak to us and enlighten us. And I'm sure that our stakeholders have also, yes, they've also had these conversations, and they would also do the needful and help us, more women, to be more empowered in the agri business. So thank you once again, the FSSS. Thank you very much, HAF, for putting together this webinar. It's been a wonderful time, and we're looking forward to more robust conversations like this, and more importantly, for implementation of everything that has been discussed today. So thank you once again. I wish you a wonderful day ahead. Thank you, and have a blessed day.
Thank you so much for having us too.
Thank you. I've been your host, Ivere Nakai. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Have a wonderful
Bye,
day.
everybody.
All right. Bye.